Last video I proved that 40mm tires are faster or at least not slower than regular tires. But that was in a straight line, and where it really matters is on the race course. So I signed up for the local Crit series, where my track record this year is an impressive 0 points out of 3 races. But I hope that will change today with the help of these monster tires. But race tires alone don't make a race bike. There are a few other things I need to change before hitting the race course. Most importantly, the gearing. A cassette with tighter spacing would be nice, but since that doesn't exist for SRAM's full mount system, this one has to do. But I'm definitely not contesting a 60+ km/h sprint on a 46-tooth chainring, so this one has to go. This is a 52-tooth Aero chainring from Stone. It weighs just 175 grams, so let's hope it doesn't fold at the first opportunity. That is, if it even fits the frame. And while I've got the tools out, let's change those mountain bike pedals for a pair of KO blades. 5 out of 5 points in technology. That means they are fast, right? I was fully prepared for a custom spindle spacer offset hack, but look at that. Clearance is no issue at all. This is a 3mm hex key. You could go even larger. The chain needs to be longer now, so I'll put in 3 additional links with a second power lock. And for maximum aero gains, and because I don't need a lot of hydration in a short crit race, I'll finally mount my Panda Podium Christmas present, the Aero Bottles. Thank you. Too bad that I cannot mount the rear cage further down, but maybe I've got a fix for that. I found a pair of nylon washers, so this could actually work. Not quite perfect, but way better. Especially the front one is matching very nice with the down tube. At only 7.6 kilos, the bike is a little lighter than my road bike, and I think it looks absolutely stunning. It doesn't have the aesthetics of a traditional aero bike, but it looks fast in its own way. I've never ridden a bike that draws so much attention. But is it a real road bike? According to the geometry charts, the GR1 should have 7mm more BB drop than my wind space. But it sits so high on the larger tires that the measured pedal clearance is actually slightly higher. So the only remaining issue could be the front end. The head angle is 2 degrees slacker on the GR1 and the wheelbase is longer, and you can definitely feel that. The GR1 is way less nimble. It wants to go straight, and initiating a turn requires more counter steering. On the wind space, on the other hand, you just have to think about cornering and the bike falls into the turn. This could be a disadvantage for positioning in large groups. Also, you have a little bit more wheel in front of you, so you cannot draft as close, and the risk of overlapping is a tiny bit higher. But as you will see in a second, I'm not riding at a level where any of that matters. The course is a 1.5 km rectangle, pretty fast and not technical at all. From the start it goes immediately into a long uphill left over the autobahn into a slow corner number 2. Then we build speed on the back straight into corner number 3, which is the only one that requires braking. Back over the autobahn into corner number 4, and this is where my last race came to a sudden end. But if you make it through, you can build up speed on the downhill for a fast sprint finish. Here I am at the start line on my gravel bike. I'm in the hobby group, which is the lowest category around here, so probably equivalent to Cat 5 or maybe Cat 4. I'm not familiar with that system, but we are all beginner racers, so keep that in mind when you notice the complete lack of racecraft once we take off. Beginner mistake number 1, lining up late in a field of 90 riders, which puts me around 70th position. Beginner mistake number 2, failing to clip in, and now I'm dead last. We are riding 15 laps, and every 3 laps there are 5, 3, 2 and 1 points up for grabs. Double points on the final lap, and whoever scores the most points wins. I had terrible preparation leading up to this race, having been struck down by illness and a record-breaking heat wave. I haven't done any intensity in weeks, and at this point I'm not even sure I can hang on. My strategy is to attack the first prime, so I at least get some sprinting content before I potentially get dropped. That strategy is of course borderline stupid when starting dead last, but at this point my brain is no longer in strategy mode and I'm committed to moving up 90 positions in just 3 laps. Here I'm keeping a gap because there are usually crashes going into corner number 3, but not today. I find a big guy to hide behind, and now I'm finally moving in the right direction. As the field slows down on the uphill, I carry some momentum from the straight, squeeze through and completely park it in the corner. But now I'm on the protected side and join this move to the front. And finally I'm at the business end. With no team setting up a lead out, the pace isn't that high yet. And here comes the bell. Remember how easily I moved up on the protected left on the last lap? Well, this time I completely burned myself in the wind on the right. Now I'm at the front too early, and of course they don't let me back into the pack. Note Bluebib's guy on my left here, he'll be relevant again later. But for now I enter the last corner in P5, which isn't bad at all. So here I am in perfect position, about to start my sprint. In my head I'm already celebrating. I try to get out of the saddle and nothing. Not even 1000 watts. I'm still not sure what happened. It was probably a combination of no training, the heat and going too hard on the last lap. In any case, my legs completely shut down, something I've never experienced before. At this point I think my race is over. I'm sure I won't be able to contest another sprint. But I'm not the only one who cooked themselves. Look at Bluebib's guy here. That man is suffering. He even scored, but to carry those points home he can't get lapped. And here goes the first attack. Perfect timing, but that's none of my business anymore. I'm mentally broken at this point and I just want to quit. I put it in reverse and soon enough I'm dangling off the back of the field. There's Bluebib's guy again, and you can see how far the field is stretched out now. Riders are getting dropped left and right, and suddenly we're on a small gap. A more experienced rider would probably have noticed that every run around me was about to get dropped, but I just can't find the willpower to do a single pull. A little later it looks really desperate. And remember, Bluebib's guy cannot get lapped or he will lose his points, so he tries one last death pull. I can feel that isn't going to work, and then I remember that I'm not here for fun. I'm here for content. How sad would it be to do the build video and promote my 40mm setup only to get lapped right after? That's not an option, so I tell him to get on my wheel, but it's too late for him. He's done. I do a very painful pull and just make it back to what's left of the field. A few uneventful laps go by where I can recover a little bit. Time to talk about the 40mm setup. It does feel really good. If anything, knowing I have more grip and pedal clearance than anyone else gives me more confidence. You almost don't feel the road anymore, but not in a bad way. At 40 psi it's in no way squishy or like riding on springs. It's a full-on race setup. This bike gets a lot of attention and I let anyone who is interested take it for a test ride. Most people are skeptical at first, but then surprised when it doesn't feel sluggish at all. If you have the opportunity to try a setup like this, do it. It will really change how you look at wide tires. Now back to the race, because I'm about to do something stupid. I don't notice that the rider in front of me is about to blow up. And here I go again, wasting my energy because I was too lazy to position myself a little further up. Watching this almost hurts more than my legs did at the time, because just when I think I've made it back, number 87 decides to give up. And here I go, closing gaps again like the idiot I am. I finally learn from my mistakes and move up a bit in the field, where I managed to drop my heart rate low enough that my brain starts working again. I didn't pay much attention to what was going on at the front because I just wanted to get this disaster of a race over with, but with 2 laps to go, I hear that the brake is caught. That means what you see here, just 20 meters ahead, is the front of the race. I think a lot of riders don't want to contest that final sprint. They just want to bring their points home, so the field bunches up a little and my heart rate drops to almost 150. I sense an opportunity, and as the bell rings, a gap opens up in front of me. And not only that, I find my teammate who hadn't seen me for the last 20 minutes and thought I was out of the race.
Go, Finlay! Go, go, go! Get run!
The left opens up and I shout at him to lead me out, but he doesn't understand what's going on and I can't fault him. So I go without him and find this giant to latch onto. I thought he would pull all the way to the corner and I overshoot him a little. Then this guy in white here is getting lapped, I think. The giant swings into me, I take a horrendous line through that corner and squeeze out the guy who was probably about to give me the best lead out. I'm sorry, this was not deliberate, just pure incompetence on my side. I enter the finishing straight in P6, one guy pulls off and I'm just one position away from scoring a point. But it's all in vain. I finished 5th, which puts me in 14th overall and makes me the first rider without any points. In light of my form and tactical disaster class, that's not too bad, but where could I have been if I'd invested my energy a little smarter? At least I set my fastest lap ever at 52 km per hour and the average pace was also quite high at over 45. The bike felt really good and not for 1 second was I bothered by the handling difference compared to my road bike. In fact, I like it so much that I'm racing it again in 2 weeks. So subscribe if you don't want to miss how I finally win this race.